Hello and welcome. I've got here the update preview for 1.2 off of the forums, fresh off the press here, 39 minutes ago posted. So let's get into it, talk about what's coming. This is my first time reading through this, so thought it'd be fun to experience it together. It's been a while since we last spoke, but what we've lacked in words, we've made up for in hard work. So they're getting at what they've been up to. They have some pretty big gaps in communication sometimes. That's what they're hinting at here. Let's get into the meat and potatoes of this. I'll have the link for this post in the description if you'd like to read through it yourself. Console development check-in. We're currently making a ton of great strides in getting a lot of performance out of our console work. There's a lot with this type of development, not only in getting the game to run properly and at a decent frame rate, but also in meeting the technical requirements of each specific platform before we submit for certification. As we continue to progress, we'll keep you all posted. So there was some footage of the Nintendo Switch version a while back. Augie shared it, I think, when he was streaming. I saw a clip of it. It honestly, it looked like a 3DS game. Like, what it looked like to me was, if anyone played Smash 4 on the Wii U, and then they played it also on the 3DS. If DDA on the PC was Smash 4 on the Wii U, then DDA on the Switch looks like Smash 4 on the 3DS. That's the best comparison to me that I can think of. That's what it looked like. But, you know, they're going to do what they have to do to get it on the Switch. The Switch is kind of a technical marvel, but it's not very powerful in terms of computing power, so they're going to have to make some sacrifices to get it on there. I wish they would go into specifics in terms of what they're doing. It would be nice to just, even if it got a little technical, just to bring us in a little bit, you know, shed some light on the situation. That would be nice, but maybe they're not able to do that. Who knows? Update 1.2. We're going to be splitting this update into two parts to make sure everything we add is in the best state possible. The first part of this update includes additional gameplay, features, rewards, and bug fixes. Thank you. The second part includes additional features and Kickstarter rewards. Yeehaw, that's for me too. The goal with update 1.2 is to put a bow on what we would consider the baseline DDA experience before we move on to major content updates. So what that says to me is 1.2 will probably be the last free update, the last unpaid DLC, if you will. I assume then from now on, the updates will actually be DLC. We'll see. But yeah, it seems like they're trying to cap off what the actual... So this... Everyone's saying that, you know, DDA is still in early access and 1.0 is really early access still. I guess maybe 1.2 for them would be the actual release of the game. So, you know, where it should be in its finished state. Let's get into it here. Enter the Rift mode. We've been teasing it for a bit, but we're ready to talk about it. Yeah, they've been talking about Rift mode a lot. It's an option similar to hardcore that players opt into throughout campaign and survival. Okay, it's another checkbox. Rift mode serves to evolve the challenge and experience of DDA, providing players something new regardless of their experience. Okay, what do we got here? The number of total enemies is halved. Okay. Some enemies become Rift enemies, providing additional functionality and difficulty. All enemies can become Rift enemies. The Siren is already a Rift enemy. Okay, that's a pretty big hint in terms of what it does. So, new component to the enemies here. A new weapon type called Fusion is dropped to take on Rift enemies. Okay. This will make taking Sirens on considerably easier. Alright, well, I don't know if they need to be easier. I mean, just mixing your damage types is usually enough to take on Sirens. I don't think that's all that big of a challenge there. I think that'll make the EV obsolete in terms of its ability to swap between damage types. Alright, what else do we got here? New armor set bonuses that can be target farmed to take on Rift enemies. I'm still kind of in the dark in terms of what these actually are. Increased loot quality dropped in Massacre. This is not an increase in item caps, but rather dropping better quality loot in general to progress further. Is this an increase in the loot floor? Is this an increase in the minimum quality of loot dropped? I guess I'll be redoing my Alkalabs drop table video. Over 20 new accessories added, only available in Rift mode. I'm not very excited about accessories, frankly. I was talking to some other people about this on my Discord. I mentioned it during the live stream, the dev stream. I would rather be able to hide accessories than anything. There are times where I scroll all the way in to get the best perspective when I'm sniping on my huntress or something, and her mask just gets in the way. It's gotten to the point where I've devolved to wearing only monocles because they're tiny and they don't get in the way. Where does it occur? It is all available in all difficulties for campaign and survival. I would assume that. Yeah, that's the same for hardcore. What are Rift enemies? Rift enemies are considerably stronger monsters that have greatly increased health, increased damage, and additional mechanics. Here are 3 of the enemy's new mechanics. Goblins, they're 33% larger. Okay. Making them more of an imposing threat? Really? And potentially blocking higher priority targets from getting hit? Sure. I guess. I mean, so we're just going to have hordes of 33% bigger is not... That would make them about as tall as an archer, wouldn't it? Okay. Archers. Their attack range has been increased, and now they shoot homing missiles. Homing missiles. Do they target players? Or towers beyond your walls? What are they targeting? What homing missiles, what's the target? Ogres, they've cleared up their sinuses, and instead of throwing snot, snot balls confirmed. Some people argued with me that they were not snot balls. They throw rift kobolds that have a huge explosion. Okay. That'll be interesting. Yeah, I want to know if the reflect walls will block the rift kobolds. I'm predicting they won't. This is just a sneak peek into the additional mechanics, as every enemy can become a rift enemy. So we didn't cover orcs. What else am I missing here? Kobolds. We didn't cover kobolds. Mages, skeletons, spiders. So they'll all have some kind of component. Only speculation. I'm sure they'll get mega spiderweb balls or some weird stuff like that. I'm sure they'll mix it up quite a bit. What are the rewards? As mentioned above, new weapon variations. See, okay, if you're going to add weapon variations, will they be as good as the boss weapons? I don't see a point for weapon variations from floor loot if they're going to pale in comparison to the boss weapons. And by the boss weapons, I mean, the Drake Tooth, the Slicer, like the one weapon that each class can use. I mean, the Spitfire and the Demon Horns for the Huntress, I guess. I don't know. Very little weapon variation right now exists to begin with. I mean, one weapon is viable for 2 of the major played DPS heroes. I don't know. I'm not excited for new weapon variations when we only use one weapon to begin with. I use a Drake Tooth, that's it. It's the only viable weapon. That's not my choice. I can't use the other weapons. They're not nearly as good. I'd be gimping myself to use another weapon. New armor sets that help you take on these enemies. Okay, new accessories to spruce up your character. I don't really care about accessories. And increased loot drops to progress even further. Okay. To progress even further. So this is gonna drastically change the progression curve for new players, I would assume. So it'll have an effect on the progression path for new players. I'm interested to see how that'll affect the new player experience. I'm hoping it's a positive effect. I'm hoping it's good. I guess we'll find out. What's the point? What's the point? In Dungeon Defenders Awakened, we've got multiple types of players. Sure, there are defenders who enjoy the traditional Dungeon Defenders experience, want to spend tons of time farming for that perfect drop, and like to set up an intricate grid of defenses that they can set and forget. That's true. That has been a major complaint so far. A lot of people want their AFK builds back. Then there are defenders who want an additional challenge, want better loot faster, and want somewhat shorter play sessions. I have not met anyone who wants a shorter play session. With every one of our updates, the first group will get what they want, but for the second group, Rift Mode is our chance to provide an option to the second group. Okay. So it's an additional challenge that rewards better stuff faster. It's a more action-oriented method of gameplay. You're still not accommodating the set it and forget it types. You don't really have that in DDA right now. What you have, well, I mean, you could, I guess, set up a key mapper or an auto key presser for your boost monk, set it and forget it there. but it's not like DD1 where you could truly AFK a build. It's not really like that, not in my opinion. This isn't a one and done mode either. It's a rift, and as we progress further and further into DDA with our major updates, the rift continues to tear more and more open. Sounds like WoW. Introducing new mechanics and challenges for players to overcome. Every new enemy added to the game will have a rift version as well, diversifying the gameplay and introducing a new obstacle to overcome. So I could see this adding different elements of strategy. What I'd really see Rift doing is greatly increasing the viability of co-op play, having multiple heroes on the field. I could see that being a major perk in terms of how to tackle Rift mode when it's released. I think it'll make co-op a better experience, a more rewarding experience. Right now, co-op is more of a fun extra thing and not really a necessity, in my impression. Really, it's just a mode to provide a reward that decimates the Siren? Okay. Sirens are not that big of a challenge to begin with, if you know how to deal with them. Interesting that they're making such a big point on Sirens. Also, there's a ton of new accessories to hunt down in this update. Why does that matter? Let's get into the big feature of this update, transmog. Yeah, I'm frankly, I'm just not that excited about this. I want more gameplay mechanics. I want maps. I want, mixed mode and pure strat for Massacre. This is not, I don't know. This kind of puts a bit of a damper on 1.2 for me. This feature looks to provide players with the option to make their hero look how they choose. It's similar to the flare system that was in Dungeon Defenders 2 that many players enjoyed, with similar elements to customization systems you may have seen in other games. Well, transmog, anyone who's played WoW, you know what transmog is. If you have a weapon and you want it to look like this other weapon, boom, it's like skins for weapons and armor and stuff. What is it? You might get a fancy mask that drops and looks cool, but you really want to live out your dream of wearing a goblin face without sacrificing the godly tier stats on your perfectly dropped fancy mask. Now you can, yep, so the system is pretty robust and is something we're going to continue to build upon over time. Man, am I the only one that wants more maps and mixed mode? I don't know. I have a feeling this isn't really going to add more to the end game, but it's going to add more to do throughout progression. I don't think 1.2 is going to be a big update for people who are at the end of endgame right now. I don't think we're going to get much, but if this enhances the new player experience, I'm for it. I do want to see more people get in, and I do want the new player experience to be better. So if this helps with that, then I'm in support of it. Your transmogs will exist independently of your actual equipment, so feel free to mix and match to your heart's content. As you change your equipped items, your transmog appearance will go untouched. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Transmog, I guess that's fun. I'm sure I'll get some use out of it. What can I do with it? There's multiple changes. This is why they talked about it so much. How much of this is transmog? Okay, we end up here. Okay. 20 new accessories. Yep. What can I do with it? First, you change the model of your equipped items and the following equipment slots. Weapons. You can only transmog weapons that your hero can use. Of course, you wouldn't see a sword turned into a bow or something. Yep. You'd be able to transmog weapons. Yeah. Oh, Eevee's weapons aren't visible anyway. Yeah, that doesn't really matter, I guess. Masks can be hidden. Okay. Thank you. That was my biggest concern. I'm just going to hide them. Bracers look super weird on a shadow skin. I don't really, I don't really want them visible, frankly. Maybe I'm being a Debbie Downer, but I'm excited for the fact that I can hide them. Bracers can be hidden or transmogged. Yeah, so okay. 20 new accessories to mix and match the way you look. Sure. Okay. The customization does not stop there. Open up additional colorization options. Okay, that's good. Hopefully they did mention that they're going to fix the bug where when you play a multiplayer match, all of your appearance changes and skins snap back to the default. If you have like a crystalline or a shadow skin, you play co-op, you go back to your tavern, your skin is off and you're back to the default. They're fixing that apparently. You can also recolor your weapons and accessories to look however you want. That's cool. We're making it so that all items drop with their default colors, icons. Okay, sure. That'll be interesting. All items can have their hue, saturation, and brightness adjusted. Black katana. No one uses a katana. I guess you gotta transmog your slicer into a katana. You know, it's like, what are you going to transmog your Drake Tooth into? You know what I'll do? You know what I'm probably going to do? I'm probably going to transmog my Drake Tooth into a Protean Partisan. I guess I'll have to settle for that. Neon green mask for that sweet rave in Deeperwell, no problemo. Insert humor here. You can preview how certain colors get converted to HSB with this nifty tool. Cool, you can click on that. If you check out the post yourself, bug fixes. Yeah, there's a ton of bug fixes coming with this update. Thank you. Maybe some stuck mob issues can be resolved. Maybe. Wink, wink. It's a little complicated, but basically patching while we've been working on our console ports has been a very difficult endeavor, requiring a lot of additional work and potentially breaking a lot more. See, that's what you fix one thing and you break 10 others. I'm not a developer, but I know that has something to do with why things take forever to get patched, leading to delayed patch releases. Yeah, there you go. And console releases. Sure. We're sorry we haven't got these out sooner, but there are a lot coming, and we'll make sure to have detailed notes of all of them. Great. Part 2, give me that. We're not a very large team. When it comes to getting things done, we have to be really efficient and smart with what we do, with what we work on. Our team has been hard at work. See, say you're hard at work. We get it. On getting our console versions ready. Work is still going on as of this post, so I would assume so, which is a very time-consuming and incredible engineering feat to accomplish. As such, there's a couple features that we want to give a little bit of additional time to focus on to make sure they release fully functionally. Trading is the big thing everyone's been asking about. Frankly, I don't care about trading. I care about showing stuff off and dropping it and doing more with the tavern. I'm looking more forward to that than trading. I think trading might break the economy. This is going to be a pretty straightforward feature to many. Trading will allow players to open up a UI with other players to trade items that they've acquired throughout their journeys for an agreed upon price. Sure. We are wanting to spend additional time on this feature to make sure it not only has transactions working without a hitch, but also to remove any potential exploits that can ruin the experience for other defenders. See, that was a big problem in DD 1. The economy with trading and stuff, it was kind of busted. I would rather see this stay in the oven as long as it needs to be flawlessly executed. Trading is not something they can play with. If they break the game, they break the game. You know, if they destroy the economy, you can't really undo that without some kind of wipe. So if that doesn't come to a 1.5, I wouldn't care. You know, I'm fine with getting my own stuff. I don't know. I'm not looking forward to trading myself. I just like getting my own gear. I don't know. I'm probably alone there. Item reforging. Sometimes you get a good drop and invest a ton of points into the piece of gear, only to want to reallocate the upgrades. So that'll be so you can reallocate your points. I guess that'll be what they do with the blacksmith. Yeah, with item reforging, you can do just that. You take a shirt to the blacksmith. Okay, so that's what the blacksmith will be doing for us. He'll allow you to reinvest your items' upgrade points. Perfect. That's great. That's good. I'm looking forward to that. So, upgrade Kickstarter rewards. Part of this update is putting a bow on the base game, and that includes fulfilling our in-game Kickstarter backer kit and pre-order rewards. We've got most of the skins up, but we'll be adding custom enemy names, custom weapon names, custom armor names, legends, tablet, credit/pretzel thanks, and hero title. So that'll be cool. Hero titles in general will be cool. Yeah, when? Soon TM. Yeah, soon.exe. Sure. We are wanting to get a few weeks of testing done to make sure that part 1 is good to go. Once we're happy with where it's at, we'll get it out to you ASAP. Do you want to be part of that process? So you can apply to the Cavalry, and I recommend anyone does if they're interested in testing themselves. It's pretty cool. You have to sign a non-disclosure agreement, and then you can jump in and test out the new stuff. But that is it right there. That's all we've got here for 1.2. So Closing thoughts for me. I'm at the end of Endgame at this point. There doesn't seem to be much more meat being added to the bone here for Endgame players. Rift mode should be an interesting challenge, but if me and the other guys that are at the end of Endgame here are all decked out already, I don't know that it'll add anything to the experience for us. It'll be a fun new thing to play through, don't get me wrong, and I'm sure it'll have an interesting effect on the progression curve for new players. That's what I'm hoping for. I am excited for something else to do, some kind of new mode. Man, I'm just going to assume then that 1.2 will not be coming with mixed mode. That was what I was looking forward to the most. That's what I was hoping for. I'm surprised, because if this is going to be putting a bow on the base game, I would have assumed mixed mode and pure strategy would have been coming with it for Massacre. Maybe it will, maybe it won't, I don't know. Those are my thoughts. I'm not crazy about transmog. It's not a feature. I was a very avid player of World of Warcraft for a long time. I never really took advantage of transmog. Wasn't really my thing. The accessories are the gear that I'm least excited about. I'm excited that I can hide them, because I'll show a clip of it if I have it, of the frustration of trying to zoom all the way in to shoot on your Huntress per se, or any other ranged hero, and then your mask is completely blocking your vision to the point where it's no longer worth trying. So I'm excited to be able to hide them, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. And I encourage you to take a look for yourself at the post if you want to dissect it any further. But those are my thoughts about it right now. If you have any thoughts or concerns or questions, hey, drop a comment. Let's get into it. As always, follow me on Twitch if you're interested in seeing some of this stuff live streamed. We can talk about it there too. I also have a Discord server dedicated pretty much solely to DDA, so check for the link for that in the description as well. But yeah, closing thoughts, transmog, meh, Rift mode, seems kind of cool. When? Soon.tm, soon.exe, we'll see. But that'll do it for this one. Just a roundup of the patch notes for 1.2 and a bit of what we talked about on the dev stream. Let me know if you're interested in me covering this in the future. I was thinking about doing sort of a podcast for DDA. If you'd be down for like a Dungeon Defenders podcast, let me know. Maybe even just a roundup for after the dev streams. Let me know in the comments if you're interested in that, if you think that'd be cool to do, because I think I'd love to do it. But that's going to do it from me. Thank you so much for watching.